Yesterday we kicked off Women History Month, but did you know black and brown people across the world are reconnecting to their roots and redefining their relationships to the land through gardening and farming? And Black Gardener Talk is dedicated to sharing those voices to inspire all people of color, even some that don't look like us, to grow by any means necessary. But sometimes we just need our own safe space to talk. Good morning, I'm Kamani and Koo, and my guest today is Darrelynne. I cannot get everything right today. Lights are falling down, all that good stuff. But good morning, folks. Thank you for joining us. I'm gonna bring Darrelynne in the room. This is my Ace Boom Coon from New Soul Thursdays. Um, but we're gonna talk. We're gonna chat it up. We're gonna talk about gardening and all that good stuff. All right. So let me get her in a run. What up?
Hey.
Hey,
Okay.
what's up?
Ah.
How,
How are
how are
you?
you?
Good. I'm good.
Struggling. It's
No, I
morning
heard you.
time.
I heard you. But you made it. We here.
We are here. We are definitely here. It's been a struggle this morning. You know, morning is not my time of day. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have to. It's crazy. So I thought I had to go to work yesterday. So I went all the way to my part-time job, worked about an hour and a half, then realized I was not scheduled to work.
No. They were like, you can go home.
So no, I was like, no, all these people called out. So they was like, you should stay. I'm like, no, I'm going home. So I actually got some sleep last night, so I didn't want to wake up this morning. But I'm dedicated. This is being consistent. I'll try to be consistent with Black Gardener Talk. And we have you here today.
It's
And I'm
the weather.
excited.
It's the weather.
It's the weather. I
Yeah,
thought
it's
it
a
was,
little
I mean,
rainy.
it is nice outside, but it's rainy and
Yeah,
dreary
it's a
out here.
little rainy, dreary, but it's warm. So I don't know.
And just so you know, everyone out there, Black Gardener Talk today is powered by Power and Black T-shirt company. You can go to their website. You can use my code Kimani, all capitals, for a 15% discount on everything they got. They got the Black History shirts on sale now, and you can get them. All right. Let's get started. What was your first gardening memories? Let's start off like
Okay, this one's funny because my mom's not in the room, but basically
that.
I had these cucumber seeds and I got them, I guess, from school or something. And I went home and I was like, hey, mom, I got these seeds. Can I plant them? And she straight up told me no. She was like, no, you ain't planting them seeds. And I was like, okay. So I went outside, I think maybe I was in middle school, but I went outside and I threw them over the porch. And so fast forward a few months into, the warm time of the year. And basically we had cucumbers and mom was like, well, who planted these? I was like, I don't know. I don't know how they got there. So that's my first garden memory.
That's what's up. And did she partake in them? Was she
She
did
sure
she change?
did. I was like, look, mama, cucumbers. She was like, where did this come from? I was like, they're growing in the yard for some reason.
Did she change her mind after that about growing food?
No.
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 So from throwing the seeds in the yard over the balcony, over the railing or whatever, to today, how did that happen? How did you get into
um
gardening now?
So after that, I would say fast forward to college. I had this I moved into, I would say, my first apartment. It's like a townhome after graduating. And I asked my housemate at the time, hey, can I plant a garden? Because I hadn't planted one before. And she just looked at me like with so much fear because it's her, it's her house. And so we went and we got, we spent maybe like $50. So this is a really like budgeted garden that was happening. And we ended up growing Swiss chard. So that's like my favorite green, I would say. We also grew cucumber and pepper. And the funny part was, again, she was scared, right? So I basically brought the first cucumber that we grew into the house, and she just looked at me like, I was like, it's a cucumber. She was like, well, it looks, a little short and stubby. It looks a little different from what you see in the store. So I was like, we cut it open and she ate it. She was like, well, it tastes like a cucumber. And I was like, yeah, that's how it's supposed to happen.
That's how it's supposed
Yeah.
to happen. That's how it's supposed to
Yeah.
taste.
So Um,
Now, did she fall in love with gardening and
I
is
don't think
she still
no.
gardening?
No, she's very particular about like she doesn't really touch outside. She has
Okay.
people mow her grass and cut her trees. Like outside is for looking at, not for partaking. Very Virgo-esque.
Oh, okay. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So, from college to now, how did
Yeah.
that happen? What made you
Um,
want to continue?
So I enjoy doing that. So basically, subsequent apartments that I lived in, I basically started to look for places that I could garden. So every apartment that I moved into, I made sure that there was a place for me outside that I can garden. So that tend to be basement apartments. And so again, for some people, I know they like to do container gardening, but I particularly like I want to put my stuff in the ground. I don't want to have to watch it and check the for those that do container gardening, I don't want to check the water thing. I'm kind of lazy in that aspect. If I leave, I don't want to have to worry about, my plants drowning or anything like that. So that's how I ended up where I am now, is just making sure that the places that I live have, gardens or at least a space for me to garden. And yeah.
Okay, so you're in Maryland now, not too
Yeah.
far from me.
Mhm.
Just tell us about that garden.
So I actually bought a house. It's about 2,000 square feet, and it's on a half an acre lot. So it's a really large lot. And it has a huge side yard, front yard, and backyard. So for me, this is like a gardener's dream.
Green.
Yeah. So the first I actually have plans to do two gardens, but right now I have one garden that's on my side yard, and the garden beds are 6 feet by 10 feet, so they're pretty large. I'd
Oh
say
wow.
they're pretty large. Brain. They're pretty large plots,
Yeah,
basically. Um, so I have
that's huge. That's
yeah,
huge.
yeah. Well, because some people were saying that, oh, well, you're not going to want to walk in the middle and things like that. But I find I have no problem stepping into the garden without, stepping on other things. The way I planted it was that a lot of stuff was around the perimeter, and then especially the vining vegetables, they will trail into the center. So you
Oh
can
yeah.
plant it the way that you want to plant it. But I love,
That's,
I mean, I love the garden, and I basically had peppers. Really, I had so many peppers last year, and a lot of them are hot peppers. And anybody knows if you don't eat a lot of spicy food, then one pepper is enough
oh yeah.
for your
I got
whole dish.
peppers right here.
Yeah, yeah, one pepper is enough for like your whole food. So, basically, that was, I don't know. I gave all my neighbors peppers. They gifts of peppers.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure that they loved it. Um, what was your first mistake while learning how to? Well, one, congratulations, you moved into a new house, and then you wanted to start a garden at the same time you moved into a new house. What
Yeah.
was your first mistake? Or did you have any mistakes?
Um, you mean like now or just in general?
Just in general, when you first,
Okay.
well, when you first started this garden at this new place.
I would say this one is just, the amount of money that you put into it, it had to be a lot less because I purchased the house. And I ended up buying like the cheaper wood. It's like a pine, it's not sanded or anything. So they're very basic boxes, garden boxes, but it's basically just for now so I can actually grow. But I would say the mistake wise is just not planning on not having any funds for the garden. I would that's the main thing.
So
Yeah.
funding, you think funding is essential?
Well, yeah, funding's essential. And then also I planted a little late last year. So a lot of my tomatoes started to come right before it got cold. And so I was like, oh, I'm planting in, I think I planted mid-July, mid to end of July, which
Oh
is
yeah,
pretty
that's
late.
late. That's
Yeah,
late.
it was late, but it was like, look, you're gonna get this garden this year, okay?
I mean, you stay focused. You know what I'm saying? That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. From your first mistake to your garden success, what was it? Besides those cucumbers when you was younger.
Um, I would say success wise, oh, I love sunflowers. Um, and so this was it was an apartment in between, you know, the very first one I grew in now, but I grew these really tall sunflowers in the apartment that I was living at, so much so that the neighbors were like, they're so beautiful. So I got a lot of compliments on that. I didn't take, too many pictures of them or whatnot. I mean, as far as like with me in them, but they were really tall, and it was basically a labor of love for the sunflowers. But I really love sunflowers, and I can't get them to grow here because the damn, what are they called? The groundhogs will eat them. They will eat the
Moles,
shit out of
probably
them.
moles. They're probably moles.
No, it's the actual groundhog. They will.
Groundhogs.
Yeah.
They kind of look the same a little bit, but yeah.
Well, this one was chunky.
Okay, probably a groundhog.
Okay, I was like, he's the same size as my dog, but he looked like, yeah.
A little fatter.
Yeah.
Maybe you gotta fence them in or somehow.
Well, it is fenced, but this one day I was watching, he climbed the fence. He
Oh, wow.
basically scaled it like he was Spider-Man and then hopped over the other side. And I was like, this mofo. So anyway,
He was ready.
he was so ready. So I basically probably have to do like additional fencing, but I don't want to do it.
Almost like a cage type thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's all right. Urban. I can't get nothing out this morning. Oh my God! Please forgive
Urban
me,
Veggie
y'all.
Queen.
Urban Veggie Queen said my family is watching together. My mom is thoroughly enjoying the talk. What's up, Mom? Photogenic Mom.
Hi.
I won't say your real name on here. Photogenic. Let me see. I'm lost focus now. God, what advice would you give a new gardener?
I would say the main thing is focus on like I would say maybe 3 things that you want to grow versus growing everything. And then focus on what those 3 things need. It's a lot more difficult to grow, 20 different crops or, 25. It's a lot more difficult, and then you have to do research on each thing. So I would just say focus on like 3 main things that you want to grow, and then once you get a grasp on that, then you can add things. That would be my advice.
That's what are you planning to grow this garden season? Because I grow all year long. Most people kind of start around now and go till like the fall, and then they quit. What are you planning to grow?
That's what I do.
Like, what are you planning to grow?
The things that I really like to grow cucumbers. I like to grow mainly vine stuff, and that's because that was like my second mistake, was growing viney stuff in an area where it was super wet and it got it's like a fungi.
Root rot.
Yeah, it's like root rot and fungus, and you can't grow in the same area the next year. So you're basically setting your plants up for failure. But anyway, I want to grow like watermelon and cucumbers, a lot of the melons. I really love the melons. And I have strawberries. I got those little containers from the Dollar Tree and some of those bare roots. So I'll be planting those as well. So I have a lot of different stuff that I'm planting this year, but I got to just get hop to it.
Me too. I'm going to give you some loofah seeds because you said you like viney.
Yes, I do need some loofah. I was like,
I'm going to give you
I haven't
some
grown them
loofah.
before.
So I saw this thing, and I think I'm going to make a video later on today, but I got a loofah, right? And I supposed to be making these soap loofahs, but then I saw somebody take a bar of soap,
Yeah,
pomegranate bar soap, and then they cut the inside. They pulled the inside out, but I didn't pull the inside out, and I just stuff it in there like this.
okay.
And then I got a loofah.
Wash your butt with it.
Yep, wash your butt with it.
Okay. I mean,
Wash
do what you do.
Yeah, wash my face with it. This is like ageless. I'm ageless. Can you see? I'm vampire years old. And so this is one of those fountains of youth right here. A loofah, fresh loofah, and pomegranate soap.
Yeah, that seems pretty easy, fairly easy to do.
Yes. And you're gonna love the loofah. I'm gonna give you those seeds probably this week sometime. Where do you spend most of your time in the garden at? You have a favorite place out there?
I would say, so there's 4 plots, if you can picture it. And then right in front is where I had my chairs and table set up. This year I moved it to the back because I'm planning on not planting anything back there. It didn't get a lot of sunlight. So I'm actually going to plant more flowers and stuff in the back. So hopefully that will be my favorite place, but I can't really say.
Okay,
Because
not yet.
it's yeah, it's changed.
You still growing because you
Yeah.
new in the place.
Hmm.
Um, with those places that don't get sun, maybe you could do some garden reflectors. Um,
Okay.
with it's like they sell this shiny mulch type paper on
Okay.
like Amazon and stuff, and you just put it on boards or you lay it out on the
Hmm.
ground, and then you cut holes in it, and then you can put the seeds in that part of it, and
Okay.
then with little sun comes, it beams down on that
Hmm.
reflector paper,
It's
and
like those things they use when you're tanning. I mean, I don't
mm-hmm,
tan, but I've only seen it in the movies.
yeah, yep.
Okay.
It's called a garden reflector mulch or something. It's
Okay.
really popular. I have some on in some of my property here
I have
on
to try
some.
that out.
Yeah, it works really. Actually, that gets the best. Those vegetables are the best growing vegetables when that sun pop up on that reflector.
That's
Um,
cool.
Urban Veggie Queen Mom said, "What about blueberries? Do you grow blueberries?"
Um, I've only grown blueberries once, and it was a fight between me and the birds. Me and the birds. And so, if you do grow blueberries, I would say you gotta grow multiple plants, and then maybe separate them out in different places in the yard. Some for the birds and some for you, and then the ones that you want to keep cover them. Because again, this was at the other apartment. I didn't cover mine, and I come outside and I was like, "Oh, some are ripening," and then they was gone.
They
So,
were gone. Yeah, the birds will get them. The squirrels, well, the ghetto squirrels around my way will definitely get them.
hmm.
But what I did, the trick was, well, it wasn't a trick. It just happened. So I had raspberries, and the birds ate the raspberries, and then they came to the front yard and they pooped them all out in the front yard. Or they went to the bathroom, and the seeds developed, and now there's tons of raspberries in the front yard. So they tend to leave all the blueberries and everything alone in the backyard. But
Hmm.
Urban Veggie Queen Mom, I have a pink lemonade blueberry bush,
Hmm.
and it's the best thing ever. It tastes just like pink lemonade. I don't know how they got it like that, but that's some good blueberries right there. Now the birds they did try to sample them, but they was greedy this year because they had all the cicadas. They was full. They couldn't fly. They couldn't move. They was just stuffed with cicadas. So I got a lot of stuff growing.
I'm
Um,
not cicadas, but
what do you enjoy most about gardening?
um, it's like it's almost like a meditative practice. I would say it's very depending on what day it is. I just go outside and I'm just taking care of the plants. It's like a nurturing process, and I always feel peaceful and calm doing it. I know there are studies that say that, there's microbes in the soil that, make you feel good, but I always feel great when I do it. Um, so I'd say that's the main thing that I like about gardening. And then also sometimes I also have music playing. So I have a garden playlist, and it's basically anything that grows in the garden. So I kind of play this game like, what song is this? And so after I've made the playlist, because some of the songs I'm not familiar with, so I'm trying to figure out like what is this that grows in the garden, and by listening to the lyrics. So it's kind of a neat mental activity to do as well.
That's what's up. I love that. Urban Veggie Queen Mom said put an owl. Let me tell you a real quick story. So my mom passed a few years ago, and my mom loves some owls. She loved owls. She collect owls. We never had a real owl, but I'm surprised that we never had one as a pet. But she died, and it was crazy. This owl shows up in my backyard and is still in my backyard. And I swear I believe it's my mom watching over me.
Oh,
And and then my neighbors cut their tree down where the owl was because I saw it one time, and it went away for a couple of days, and then it got back into another tree. So yeah, there is an owl out there, and I also have a little fake one out there too that glows in the dark at nighttime. So yeah, folks, if you can get a fake owl, put it out there. It scare the birds away, Darrelynne, as she's
great.
trying to
I'm
tell
an
you.
big owl.
Where do you find your seeds, or where do you buy your seeds from?
Oh, I buy my seeds all over the place. Peaceful Valley. So I'm closing my eyes because I'm trying to remember. Peaceful Valley has seeds. I would say their 10s are a little bit on the more expensive side. The Dollar Tree, because they're 25 cents. For you get, yeah, they're 25 cents. I also try like local, like if you go to the farmers market or things like that, if they have seeds there. Um, I tend to buy more plants locally. So I found online through Clubhouse a farm that's actually closer to my hometown, which is in Waynesboro, Virginia. But the farm is actually in Harrisonburg, and they're selling a lot of native plants. So I would buy, and they'll ship it to your house. So purchasing from them versus, little starter plants. So just all over the place, I would say. Um, yeah, and then reading the reviews because sometimes the seeds that you get aren't very great from that one company we won't mention.
Oh yeah, we won't mention her. Never again. And some people, it's crazy. Some people have been on Black Gardener Talk and they swear by that
Yeah.
company, but not me. You will not get me no more. But, speaking of native plants, you said you get them from where you grew up. Now, are those plants native to Virginia or are they native to
Well,
Maryland?
they're native to both. So the ones, so like they had pawpaw starter trees, they had allspice starter trees, blackberries, black, I think black raspberries as well. So they're just different, stuff that's native to the area per se. So,
Okay.
and which includes Maryland.
Yeah, okay. So we're both from Maryland folks out there. Also, did you know there was one right by your house, a nursery called Patuxent Nursery, probably
Yeah,
maybe 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away from you?
and is on that more expensive side.
What is your favorite gardening group on Clubhouse? It's our me and Darrelynne's Clubhouse group. Like we have not been active on there as much this year, but yeah, we did have a gardening group. That's where I met Darrelynne. But my
Yeah.
favorite is maybe I can't think. What's your favorite?
Um, the favorite gardening group, honestly, I just join all of them and I just get the notifications. But I would say I like Brandon's group. Brandon,
Yeah,
I think
Brandon.
Brandon Lester. His is the Urban Food Growers Group. Food Growers United is the name of the group. That one's a really good group. Our clubhouse is called the Greenhouse, and it's spelled Greenhouse Haus. So that's the one where I have where I used to have talks in there. Hopefully I'll get started back again. But the talks that we would have on there are about just health and wellness and different things that you can do to be more healthier. So that would include finances as well, because that adds to everything. But also like dictating which types of vegetables you eat, that I don't know, even dictating your like body odor and stuff like that. So, weird, quirky stuff that has to do with your health and wellness.
Yes, and once I get this iRig right, it's gonna be Black Gardener Talk will be on that Clubhouse where I'm broadcasting here, and then you can hear it over on Clubhouse. Try to reach that audience. Spring break is coming up with me
Yes.
because I work in the school system, so I'll be testing it out and hopefully getting it right and getting it fixed by the time we um come around in the summertime. Speaking of Dollar Tree, I got some Dollar Tree spinach right here. So don't count on Dollar Tree folks if you're out there. No what is it? GMOs. I can't
No non-GMO.
no
No
GMOs at the Dollar
MOG.
Tree. No GMOs, and also participate in your seed swapping parties or whatever that's
Yeah. Your
local.
local exchange, gardening exchange, your local one. There's like for Maryland, they have Maryland, University of Maryland Garden Extension. They actually tend to have free seeds. So if you there and what happens is I think retailers aren't able to sell their seeds after that year. So they have to get rid of them. So they will give them to the Maryland, either Maryland or Virginia Gardening Extension. So you can get free seeds from them too.
And they also offer master gardening classes.
They did.
I went through that program, and I believe you went through
I
that
did too.
program.
I just finished 2 months ago.
Okay, so now you got to do your volunteer hours.
Yeah, I'm trying to finish my volunteer hours. I have maybe like 20 hours left.
So we not new to this, y'all. We're master gardeners.
They were like, you can't call yourself a master gardener. You have to say that you're a participant. of the Maryland, it's
Yeah,
really,
that's what they used to tell me, but I was like, they don't know what
I'm
I
a
think.
master gardener.
Yeah, I'm a master gardener. What is the hardest plant you ever try to grow?
uh, you know what? It's actually a house plant. It's that palm, the majesty palm tree. I done killed so many of those. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody.
Mine's just dead now.
I have killed so many of those. Um, and so I just was like, look, you're not gonna live in my house. This is not the place for you. So I have basically washed my hands clean of the majesty palm.
Those I get when I see them for like $5 or $7 at
It's like you.
Walmart, and I just take them in and I put them outside. They give like that old Aces feel in the summertime, in the spring
Yeah.
and summer. But once winter time comes, I just leave them out there and let them die.
It's like you're gonna come home and die with me.
We might have already talked about this, but how do you decide what seeds or what vegetables you want to plant? Did we talk about that?
um, no, we didn't.
Okay. How do
So
you decide?
I decide based off of the things that I like to eat because I like to eat. And then the other thing that is that's a deciding factor is different variety. So if it's a variety that I ain't never seen or heard of or tried, something that you can't buy in the grocery store, different heirloom varieties, that's basically that's what I like go towards. Like I tried purple cauliflower in this random vegetable cooking class before, and I was like, oh, I got to grow me some purple cauliflower. And I would never have tried this had I not taken the cooking class. So now that's all I grow. Like, don't ask me about the other varieties. I'm growing purple. So
Purple. Yeah. I love the purple too. The last time I let it go too long, I said, oh, I'm gonna get it tomorrow. And then it was like
started to like sprout.
it just looked crazy when I cooked it, but it was really good. It didn't stay purple. I thought it was gonna stay purple when I was cooking it, but it didn't stay purple.
I
Maybe I could make a rice or something with it.
we baked ours, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Oh, probably so. When I
Yeah.
cooked it down, so it didn't stay purple.
Yeah, and if you guys are interested, the way they cooked it in the class, and they as if I wasn't in the class, but the way we cooked it in the class is we just use oil and salt and pepper basically, and we cut it in little pieces and put it on a dish and then put it in the oven for like 10-15 minutes. And it was just really good. It tastes really fresh.
The other day I was in the grocery store, Wegmans, actually, and they had cauliflower dip, and I was like,
Oh,
maybe when my cauliflower
your
grows
own.
up, I'll make it.
Yeah.
I checked the recipe. I mean, the ingredients real quick just to scan over and see what they had in it. But
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna make me some cauliflower dip.
You can mix it with the that fermented garlic that you made, the black
Oh
garlic.
yeah, the black garlic.
Um,
Folks, if y'all not hip to black garlic, get you some black garlic. Farmers market. You also talked about farmer market. Folks, if you on Snap, I'm not judging nobody because I was on Snap before. I was on food stamp, all that good stuff. You can go get you some seeds, and some starter plants from the farmer
mhm.
markets with your Snap and food stamp benefit card.
And I
So
think they double it depending on where you're located. So
yeah,
you get
so
twice the
that's
benefit.
or take advantage. If you're not taking advantage of, friends that on Snap or food stamps, our friends, we can buy some food stamps or get that card and pay them some money. Get you some plants too.
Gotta
You know
help.
how we do. Um, how has gardening changed your life since you started?
Um, I would say it's changed it a lot. Like for instance, my current workplace, and I love my workplace to death. But I will say that one of the things that I notice about this specific workplace is that a lot of people are stressed out. They're really on edge, type A personality. And I basically, when I started working, I was like, oh my gosh, these people need a garden. Like, I was like, I can't, like, they all need to go and plant a plant and then come back over here. And so so we all can work in a more peaceful, calm environment. So I actually started a community garden at work. So I work in a government area. So anyone who has worked with government knows that things are slow and they take a while. So it took me approximately a year just to find a place to start a garden. So I think that we're going in our third year now.
Oh, wow.
So I think it's been pretty helpful in terms of, just getting started and helping the community in that way.
with that being said, I mean, how many people usually volunteer for something like that? You said everybody's stressed out. Are you encouraging them now to like, it's springtime, let's go dig
Yeah.
up, let's clean up? How's that
Yes.
going?
So I actually make them clean up before the season's over. Like you said, oh, we quit. So you have to, part of our rules is that you got to clean up your stuff because that may or may not be your garden bed for the next season. And so come April, basically, is when we'll have an orientation for all the new people or the people that are interested. And we kind of give them realistic expectations. Like you need to water your you got to water your plants for like at least every day if it's really hot outside, or you can talk to somebody in the group and see if they can water your plants. Like it's not something that's easy to do, but it's something that's available for you. And in the meantime, in between, a lot of people will come either after work or before work. And then some people, there was one woman that she was there every day and
Oh
she
wow.
was super excited to just grow plants, and to the point that she was like, can I have this other person that didn't grow anything? And I was like, yeah, girl, have at it.
That's what's up. I love that concept. I mean, I have a community garden at the school, but it's just mostly for the kids. I
Mhm.
think the adults could take part of it and be beneficial to them since I mean it is stressful. I mean, I work in the school system. It's COVID every day. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? We send kids home every day, every week. You know, we get tested twice a week. That's stressful enough to get
Mhm.
tested twice a week just to stay in the building, you know, around a bunch of kids that already have COVID. Do they actually pay for the plot in the
Yeah.
community garden? Oh, so yeah.
Yeah, so our first year, they paid $30, and basically that was seed money, pun intended. It was seed money to get, to pay for the wood, to pay for the dirt, um, and to basically get the garden going. And then the second year, the fee was about is it $10? We don't charge very much now, so it's $10, and that's just to maintain everything. But in terms of COVID, I've just been allowing people to just go because the odds that people are going to actually use the plot have decreased because a lot of us are teleworking. So it's free right now. So we don't have
Oh,
a fee, and we actually still have money in our bank account. So if we need to buy something, we can, but we don't charge anybody to use it right now.
that's what's up. I mean, I never knew that. I think that's a great thing. I think more companies need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like what is in Virginia, you can go out and walk on your lunch break, or they give you time to walk,
Mm-hmm.
and run and exercise. I think that's a good thing. We need more people out there growing food, because this is therapy, and
It
it's a form. I mean, free therapy actually. You know, if you know my story, you can go check it out on my profile. There's a lot of stories about how gardening saved my life, and that's why my mission is to help people grow food. Do you have a favorite trick or tip that you learned along the ways of
I
gardening?
call it it's like a cardboard newspaper sandwich. So I know a lot of times people know, like, oh, we put cardboard down and then we put dirt on top and then we plant our plants in there. But I actually go another level, and I put the newspaper on top after I planted my plants, and then I put the mulch. So after the plants come up, you put newspaper down and then you put mulch on top. So it's like a sandwich. It's like a sandwich. So the grass or whatever you have growing that you don't want there anymore, cardboard, dirt, then you have your plants, and then you have newspaper, and then mulch. And so it's like a sandwich.
A cardboard
um,
sandwich.
yeah, it's like a cardboard sandwich. So that way you're not only do the weeds that don't die, because crabgrass is not my friend. But crabgrass, it turned, I don't know if you, and I don't even know if it's crabgrass now after taking the master gardening class. It looks like a different kind of grass. But anyway, they basically, the way it grows is it like turns into these little swords, and it pierces through everything. So they tend to pierce through plastic and your cardboard after a while.
Crabgrass
Yeah. And so then the
or dandelion.
newspaper,
Dandelion.
huh?
Dandelions ain't crab grass.
Yeah, dandelions are those you got to pick before those little white thing, the seeds basically spread all over your yard, because otherwise you just gonna have a yard full of dandelions. But yeah, um, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Cardboard paper, a sandwich. And where did you get the idea from? I mean, I've seen people do it, but what made you think of that, or did
Um,
you just decide to do it? And also, before you did that, did you till the ground, or you just put
no,
all this over top of the grass?
no. So I ain't digging.
Okay.
I'm not digging. So the physical labor aspect of gardening, I just run away from it because otherwise I wouldn't garden. I'm gonna be real. So the only thing that I put down is the cardboard because it suffocates the grass. So I knew that was the thing that people were doing, but I actually got the newspaper thing from someone else and then the cardboard thing later. And I was like, well, why am I doing, twice? I noticed that basically some weeds would still come through after the
Hmm.
cardboard had broken down. And I was just like, I don't have time to pick these weeds. I'm not trying to be out here or anything during the hot weather, and besides just to water the plants. So I'm not bending my back or any of that. So it's more out of laziness. It's more out of laziness than anything. So I just combined it like, oh, after the plants are planted, just and as another protection from, weeds and competition in that way, let's put some mulch on top of this newspaper and keep it moving. So that's basically where I got the idea from.
It's like a form of composting too. You can
Hmm.
probably get you a shredder and shred up papers and put it
Hmm.
down there as well. How often should we water our garden
Um,
from
Mother
your
Nature,
perspective?
it
How
depends. It,
okay.
it really depends on what you're growing. So, what you're like tomatoes, I looked at tomatoes need a they need a whole gallon of water per day. And if you have like a period of a week where it's just straight raining, then it tends to your tomatoes tend to get stretch marks. And so during that specific, you either want to maintain the water schedule or you basically don't want gaps in your water for tomatoes. So I just find that, okay, if I go outside and I water all my tomato plants at least, a gallon per day. I'm going off of this thing that I found on the internet, but it works pretty well and it's prevented my tomatoes from getting those stretch marks. But most other stuff, I tend to water twice a day, in the morning before I leave and at night before I go to bed. I don't tend to water during the day because it's hot. I'm not trying to be outside, and I feel like my plants are like, don't water me because you can tend to burn your plants. But
That's true.
that's the guide that I go by. Um, you may have to water more or less depending on the weather.
That's what's up. I tend to do that too now. Before I go to work, I water, and then when I come home at nighttime, they said never to water like during midday because you can burn the
Mm-hmm.
plants because the water will dry up really quick.
Yeah. And
Uh,
then I guess the one thing that I told somebody and they were like, wow, that's a great tip was don't water don't spray the plant. Spray the dirt around the plant.
oh yeah,
And people are like, what? I was like, yeah, the plants aren't drinking from their leaves, they're drinking from their
the
roots.
ground, yeah,
Hmm.
the
I
root.
mean, you would think that we would process it that way, but every time you see people on TV and stuff, the water goes toward the plant and it gets like a whole face full
Yeah,
of water. And it's like, they don't even drink water there.
I think that's for TV and show,
Yeah,
and I
I
think
mean, on
yeah,
Instagram too. You
yeah,
see.
I think that's for show, the reason why I said it is because we mimic that. Once we start
Hmm.
growing our own food,
Hmm.
we like, well, they were spraying it, but you actually got to spray it from or water from the roots.
Hmm.
And when I'm a garden coach, and that's what I tell folks: don't spray on the leaves. Spray down in the ground
Hmm.
so you can so they can grow. I mean, I taught a few kids, and the kids was like, "Why can't we just spray it?" And I was like, "No, you got to spray
We don't
in
like
the
that.
ground." You know,
You don't
and
want to get your clothes wet when
yeah,
you
you don't
the
want to
water.
get your clothes. Every now and then, I would spray the leaves just to give them a
Yeah.
little something,
Well,
something.
yeah. It also depends too. Like if there's like an infestation, then I'm spraying the shit out of that plant.
Okay.
Like yeah. So I
How do
think
you deal with pests? How do you
oh.
deal with pests?
So the pests that I had in Virginia are different from the pests that I have here. Some are similar, but I would say I have more pests here because of I don't know if it's just the area or whatnot. So I had those cabbage moths that were eating the crap out of my, what are they called? The greens, the collard greens that I had over the summer. And so I just left the collard greens out because they were already half eaten by the bugs, that the groundhogs could have those. So, and they're right closer to the fence. So I was trying to think more strategically about it. The other thing is you can plant at certain times. So like my squash, I tend to plant it a little bit later. You're supposed to plant it after the squash bugs have come out, because then they can't bore into the base of your plant. I do like essential oils. I found that works really well. Cinnamon oil surprisingly helps with like just, and this is not necessarily in the garden, but mosquitoes. I just put cinnamon oil or just a whole bottle, a bottle of cinnamon, and I dump it into the fertilizer spreader, and I put it all over my yard. And it helps so much with the mosquitoes. Granted, it's not a necessarily garden pest, but it is for me. Instead of eating the plants, it's eating me. So, so I think that really helped. And then just like a mix of natural essential oil, so like a peppermint oil with just water, cut with mostly water, a few drops of peppermint oil, and I'll spray that on my sunflowers, and that keeps a lot of the pests away. But again, you have to do it. Multiple times. So again, it's a labor of love. But that's the main way I deal with pests. I don't tend to use chemicals. Last year I tried to use, what was it? I used 7, which is like, it's terrible. I know it's terrible for your plants. But I was like, okay, I tried diatomaceous earth. And so I got to the point where I was like, none of this crap is working. So the best thing is to do like, use other pests. Yeah, other bugs to remedy it. It was I feel like it was, for me, it was a little easier in Virginia because I had less pests, but it's based on location and the fact that, their yard was mostly grass, and where I was planting was like a much smaller area. So.
Also, you mentioned cinnamon oil. Did you put that in the water bottle too and then spray on the plants?
So no, I didn't spray the cinnamon. The cinnamon oil I just put in the ground next to around where I'm working basically. And it lasts pretty long. The mosquitoes hate cinnamon. You can even put it, like if you had those, what are they called? The tiki torches, you can add a few drops to that, and it will also help in that way. So.
One of the tips I learned from Erica Plant's gardening and under the influence was garlic mints. So I saw her one time on her Instagram page or TikTok. She went to the dollar store and she got like thousands of bottles of minced garlic, and then she went and she was sprinkling.
Oh, I did. I saw that. I'm gonna try that too.
So I tried that.
That's for the mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes and the bugs on the plant, and that worked really, really well.
Okay, I'm gonna try that because I haven't tried garlic.
Okay, yeah. Well, when I make my natural pesticide, I'd use garlic and jalapenos. Garlic, jalapenos, and onions, and it's really, really strong. And so they hate the spiciness of it, and then the smell of garlic and onions, they hate it. But you can't live without the bugs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that's why I was like, let me just go back to the organic route. So
yeah, I mean, bugs is bugs. Me and Plant Lady yesterday, I believe she's on today because I just saw a comment from her. But we was like, I forgot what I was gonna say. The thought, you just gotta love them. You gotta live with them, and if they don't want the food, then we might not want the food. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, look, they were all over most everything, so they wanted the food.
So from pests, from watering to taking care of pests, how often do you fertilize your plants? Or do you fertilize?
I do fertilize, but I only use earthworm castings. I don't use anything else. And the earthworm castings I'll mix as like in the beginning when you're actually planting the seed, and then I'll add some more when I transplant it to the bottom of the hole that you dug, and then I also add the compost that I got locally here. The guy, he had a horse farm, so he was giving out free compost. So I use that as well. And For the most part, I fertilize. I noticed that it lasts anytime, usually between 1 to 2 weeks. So I'll just go around and I'll put the earthworm castings right at the base of the plant, and then I'll water the plant, and then basically it makes a like a concoction that goes down into the soil once you add water. So that's what I use for fertilizer. I don't use anything else.
That's what's up. So it's time for the black table question of the week. Once I get this rig thing, it'll be like, it's the black table question of the week. And it'll come up and pop up in the screen. What makes a good gardener?
Oh my goodness. I would say not giving up and being creative. I would say using your creativity to find a way to figure it out, basically. Gardeners are the most creative people that I know for the most part. We're like, how do you deal with this issue? Like the pictures that I've seen where people hold melons up using a bra, like, or they hold, or using pantyhose. Like we know how to MacGyver things it, just so that basically our food can grow. And so I would say that's one of the main things that makes a good gardener. Um, just being consistent and creative in that way.
That's what's up. I hope everyone is enjoying this Sunday. Hello, everyone. Hello, Black Girl, Green Thumb. I gotta get these names right. Hello, everyone. Thank y'all. If y'all have questions for Darrelynne, put it in the question little box. We're taking questions now. We're almost up to an hour. I still have a few more questions. But what is your favorite vegetable to grow and why?
So my favorite one to grow, I would say, look, I'm gonna redo your question. The favorite one that I like to eat is cucumbers, because they don't ever make them in the house. You know, when you're outside and you're trying to harvest your food. Well, I harvest all my food, but then I start eating the cucumber like right then and there. I'm like, oh, there's a cucumber. I cut it off, and while I'm harvesting the rest of the stuff. So that's my favorite thing to eat/grow.
Okay, and so you eat them just right off the vine? Do you make
Yeah.
any salads, or you do anything else with them? Do you make pickles or
I have
anything?
made pickles before, but I tend to use I make pickles. Well, I make pickled peppers. Pickled peppers.
Mhm. Pickle peppers.
I make pickled peppers, banana peppers. I would say that's my second favorite thing to grow. I use it's called beet sugar and vinegar, and I add like some seasoning to it, and then you boil this concoction, and then you put it right on top of you. I think it's called blanching. You put it right on top of your crop, basically. So I tend to pickle, and I still have some. They're really spicy because I had those habanero peppers. I had mixed habanero peppers with it. Anyway, so that's what I have. I really like to actually pickle peppers. And where I got this is so random, but I want to say when I worked at another company, I had a gym buddy, and she always had pickled peppers. And I was like, girl, what is this? So I tried them, and part of our lunch intake was to eat really lean. So we eat pickled peppers, tuna fish, and carrots. And maybe like a side of yogurt and some nuts. So very healthy lunch. And so now I'm hooked, and not only am I hooked, I can grow peppers, because she wasn't huge in the gardening. So I grew them, and I started to pickle them, and I gave her a whole jar anyway. So that's the story behind the pickled peppers. And now I do it every year almost.
Oh yeah, I kind of tend to do those as well because I get a lot of peppers too. I'm gonna get your input on a few questions. My year fit asks, good veggies to start in an apartment. I no longer have a garden. Any of
Um,
that for her?
okay, so in an apartment, I'm trying to, I would go with like salad greens, or herbs, like, lettuce, or you can just do herbs. I would say those are them. Anything that's leafy, it requires less, I would say for the most part, it requires less sunlight. Anything that, produces a fruit or whatnot, it's going to need a lot of sunlight, and then a lot of care and water.
That's what's up. So DIY gardener, what is the biggest garden fail you have had, and what did you do to fix it?
Oh, I think I mentioned this earlier, but it was growing. I grew vine, um, basically I grew vine plants in an area where the the ground was gross for vine plants. You can't regrow them in that area. And I can't remember. It's like, I don't think it was powdery mildew, but it's some kind of fungus that's in the ground. And you can't grow your viney plants there for, I think, a few years. Basically, it gives the fungus an opportunity to die out. So I put my viney plants right back in the same spot. I was like, nope, this is where I want them. So anyway, let's just say after a few months, it was the cucumber plant was doing so great. It looked beautiful. And then it died.
And why do you think that is? You should rotate them. Why do you think that is?
Um, well, it's nutrients, or the one that I had planted before had been diseased. And so you want to rotate it so that you're not putting an effort in something that's going to die. Sad face. R.I.P. R.I.P. cucumber plant.
Because, sometimes I tend not to rotate, but the peas always do good and I never rotate those peas. But with those peas, I'm also have garlic in there.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that garlic is helping them grow well.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't have to rotate. I just always forget to rotate them, and I just throw the peas
Well,
in that same spot all the time because there's a built-in trellis already there that was already there when I got this house.
yeah, I think the thing with the other thing is that if you keep putting the same plant in the same spot that needs the same nutrients, you're gonna basically make it deficient of the nutrients that that particular plant likes. So when you rotate it, I ideally the next plant is gonna need something different. It needs different nutrients in order to be successful, basically. So when you're rotating it, you're just mixing it up a little bit. Um, so I think that can be helpful
Okay,
when you
cool.
rotate them.
Now, say this year I grow peas there, and then next year I'll grow collard greens. Can I come back the following year and grow peas?
Look, you can do whatever you want to because it's your garden, okay?
No, I'm saying
but
in that same
but
space.
yeah, so like the whole thing is, and somebody mentioned this earlier, that gardeners are scientists. And so if you've grown peas in that spot and your peas are doing well, if I'm like doing a hypothesis, I would say I'm going to keep growing peas in that spot. But if you notice that after, say, the next year, your peas start doing bad, I probably would move them somewhere else. So for the most part, I probably wouldn't move them if they're doing well in that spot.
Okay. Black girl, green thumb. I mentioned um, um, silver mulch or reflector mulch. So yeah, car cover windows can help with less sun exposure on your balcony. You can get a bunch of those, but you can also go to Amazon and get that reflector mulch. Make sure y'all putting your questions in the question box because they'll pop up really nice. Mecca truly said, I'm starting in my apartment sunroom. I want to grow strawberries. Home Depot hasn't gotten them. They have them now. They just put them in this today or
Mm-hmm.
yesterday when I went there. Most of them have strawberries already there.
Mm-hmm.
Or Dollar Tree. Somebody said go to Dollar Tree. What else? Try your grocery store when putting plants out. Yeah. Pineapple. I got a pineapple. I'm getting ready to take the top. A trick to making your pineapples really sweet is to take that top off and then turn the pineapple upside down.
Upside
All
down.
the sugar will run to the bottom of it, and then you just take that top and then peel those leaves off a couple of, put it in some water or put it in some rooting powder, and then 3 years from now you'll have a new pineapple.
I think Walmart also has some strawberries if you didn't.
So some of these Home Depots, because I work for Home Depot, they different in places where most stuff grow or most people buy
Mm-hmm.
food to grow. That's when the companies usually get it first. My
Mm-hmm.
company, there is a lot of Latinos, and Latinos, I'm telling you, Latino people grow food like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They buy up all the peppers. They buy up everything. So the Home Depot where I work at in College Park, Maryland, they got it fully stocked. The strawberries are there. The peppers are there. The onions are there. Now, I like to go to Lowe's as well because Lowe's got some better deals sometimes. I got a plum tree for $30 at Lowe's, we're at
I'm
Home
gonna have to
Depot.
take that out, but
Yeah,
I gotta cut my bushes down first.
yeah. The plum tree was $30 at Home Depot is $59. I mean, which one? 30 or 50? 30, right? And then Lowe's didn't have anything like none of the vegetables out. But
Yeah.
Home Depot, a lot of the Home Depot do have it. If anybody's in the room in Maryland, can also check out your local nursery. Patuxent Nursery is in Bowie. They
Mhm.
have all the stuff out.
You gotta go there. I don't know. I've been watching their Instagram, so when you watch your Instagram, they'll highlight what's on sale.
Mhm.
So then, because the thing is, their nursery, that one is really expensive. So
Yeah.
gotta go when your bank account is feeling you.
Yeah, when your bank account is now they used to have one called Binkies, and Binkies went out of business, and I think Binkies was really cheap, and I think Patuxent just like, okay, well, we're gonna take advantage of
Hmm.
Binkies closing down and the pandemic, so we're gonna raise our prices and we're
Hmm.
gonna make it really really
Yeah.
expensive. But I know me and my neighbors, we got some soil from there. They came with a big old dump truck and they just dumped it in our front
Hmm.
yard, and we had to scoop it up because they built like 8 or 9 garden boxes, and I added like 6 garden boxes. And so
Hmm.
just didn't want to keep going to Home Depot and buying the bags of soil.
Bag.
So
Yeah.
we just went there and they gave us a really, really good deal. Um, and it took us like 3 days to get that soil out
Yeah.
of the
Sometimes
bag.
it's much cheaper to just order the cubic yards of soil if you need a lot versus
Yeah.
the. Mhm.
So you said you want to start an orchard in your yard?
Yeah. So right now I have eight bushes, and they're you got to keep cutting them and stuff. I've been here 2 years and I have cut them one time, and that's the last time that I'm going to cut them because they're getting cut down. So I want to basically turn that area into nothing but fruit trees and native fruiting trees.
Yeah, I would say go and take advantage of the stuff at Lowe's right now.
Hmm.
I was there. I convinced people to buy up everything. This lady was buying a peach tree for her kids, and I was like, "You got to get a peach tree,
So
a plum
jealous.
tree, a cherry tree, and an apple tree." And
Yes.
I was put. I was trying. I took the wrong car that day, and so I had to open the window and put the thing outside the window out the back
Hmm.
seat. And she had a truck, and when I was leaving, because it took me a long time to get situated, she had all 4 in her truck, and she was going down the road. I was really excited about it.
Also,
I gave her my business card, and she followed me here on Instagram, and so
mm,
hopefully she's watching because I got some stuff that I'm gonna be planning so she can see. Um, Sweetie plant pea plants wants a new garden bag. I would say get the Galveston metal ones if you can, just
mm.
because they last longer. For that, Big Lots got them on sale for $50 right now, so go
Mm.
check that out. Also, take a
Amazon has some too, but because it's growing season, they're higher now. So if you want to grow this year, then I would say, check locally. But if you want to wait till next year or whenever you're gonna, after the growing season, Amazon prices are gonna go back down. So
Oh yeah, they always go
mhm.
down towards the end of the year.
Mhm.
Um, what is that? Price gouging? That's what I call it.
Yeah, that it went up like I could have gotten I think two 6 foot by 2 foot metal ones for $50. And then I checked 2 days afterwards and they were $120. I was so sad.
Yeah, the Vigo ones are pretty good. They just really really pricey. You can
Mm-hmm.
find some cheaper ones online,
Mm-hmm.
Big Lots. Don't go just because they cost like $100 to get one. You could probably get $100 to get 3, depending on where you look at. You know what I'm saying? But Big Lots, also look at Aldi's, look at Lidl's, a place called Roses. If anybody
Mm-hmm.
has Roses in their
Oh,
neighborhood,
Tractor Supply. And
Tractor
some
Supply.
people also use the animal feeders. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're heavy duty. And they already have the drain built in, so you can use that as well.
Yeah, Tractor Supply. They have a Tractor Supply in Maryland, but it's out in Germany.
It's fall. It's
Yeah.
fall. But they have fruit trees. I had somebody post they're like $15, and I was like, maybe I need to go.
Yeah. and take advantage of all the fruit trees. There's a couple other questions before we get out of here. See how that little question just pops up? It's really nice when it pops up when you put it in the question box. I have raised beds, but
Would
would
like to play in the
plant
ground.
on the ground. Any suggestion for rabbits? And what's the rest of the question? Any suggestions for rabbits? I have several living in my backyard. Scoop up their
Um,
poo poo first. Scoop up their poo poo and put it in your garden.
so I had rabbits at the other place. I don't have them here. And what I did was I purchased, they like lettuce and there's nothing that's going to keep rabbit. I tried different things. I tried this organic spray. I tried the pepper spray, and the rabbits, they gave no F's. Basically, they were like, look, it's just a little spicy lettuce today. So what I recommend doing is purchasing, at the Five Below, they have these mesh trash bins, and I just place them over the lettuce. That's what I use, and it works perfectly. You can either use the metal trash cans, or they also had like baskets that were like wire mesh, and they're about $5. So if you grow like 20 of them, that's a lot. But what I ended up doing was, I would say half of my lettuce I covered with the wire mesh. The other half was out. So the rabbits can eat whatever I left out. And then the other ones I got to keep for myself. So that's what I ended up doing. And I didn't have to build a fence or anything. I just used the wire mesh baskets. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good thing. And then you can always build something. You know what I'm saying? Um,
I was like, oof, I don't got
you can
time.
build like a. You don't have to build a big enclosure, but maybe
Mhm.
you can build one that you can just bend over and
Yeah.
open up from the top and dig in and get it
Yeah,
out.
they have like it's like a mesh, it's like a garden mesh stuff, and you could use that too. You just would need to put something in the middle to hold the mesh up. And it can be as simple as that, almost like a TP mesh tent for your garden. I just haven't done it yet because I have four of them and they're 6 foot by 10 foot, and if you do the calculation, it's a lot. But
Yeah.
if you have like a few beds, it's not as much.
And you can also catch them on sale. I have something that I got from Lidos, which was like it's a cold frame,
Mhm.
and you just put it over and it's like a cold frame. It's plastic. You open up from the top, and yeah, you can get that. I'm trying to find this silver
The
thing,
silver mulch.
the silver mulch, real quick before we get out of here. Um, let me see if I can put it in this account here. Hold on one second. Um, I'm using another account to get
Oh,
it.
so I also use the waste baskets for a lot of my greens because of the groundhogs. So whatever else was left, I just covered it with the waste basket. And then at one point in time, depending on the size of the waste baskets, they outgrow them. So then I have these. They're like they're from Walmart. They're $3 laundry mesh bags. I buy those too, and I'll put the stuff over it. It's almost like a little mini greenhouse for your for
Oh yeah,
your
they currently got those on sale now at Aldi's. I think they're like
okay.
$18. Like, and it's real low to the ground, like almost like
Hmm.
a greenhouse, and you can put that way.
Hmm.
It can grow up a little bit more. Like you said, the
Hmm.
baskets kind of like outgrew it, but these are a little
Yeah.
bit higher where you can have them grow up a little bit more. So the mesh, the silver mulch is called silver metallic plastic mulch. They have one for 4 feet by 50 feet. That's pretty big. And that's like
Sound like it's
20,
a roll.
20, yeah, it's a roll. $24 on Amazon. I tried to put the link in the thing, but it would not allow me to do it. I guess it was too long. But yeah, look into that if people want to do that.
Mhm.
My last and final question for you. What are your future plans for gardening?
So I actually just got my farm number, and I got it the same day that the clubhouse room, the clubhouse room, there was one woman there. It took her to a year, or she said 2 years to get her. Anyway, I got my farm number. And basically it will allow me to apply for grants and things like that, in terms of, growing food. So, this will be the first year that I'm trying to sell 300 plants. So I've got everything, all of my supplies and stuff. And so that's what I'm going to be working on this year. That's one of the things. The other thing is I'm going to be trying to create, it's a little library, but it's for seeds and it's for plants. So that's the other thing that I'm going to be try to be doing.
And the library, is that outside your house or in your
Yeah, it'll
neighborhood?
be so in the alley behind my house. There are a lot of people that walk through here, and sometimes I just have extra plants that I don't have room for, and so I think it makes sense to just stick them in there and be like free plants, versus them sitting in my garden and
That's,
dying.
that's, talk about the this farmer number again. How did you get this farm number, and where did you go to get this farm number? Is this like a CSA type thing where you can?
I went to the USDA website, and actually what I did was I just Googled farm number USDA, and then a website came up, and I actually read, there's an article about like what the farm number does and whatnot. And so I read that article, and then I went to the website. The website will ask you to put in your zip code, like where you're located. And I found out the office is really close to where I live. So I went during my lunch break one day, and it'll basically tell you it's a USDA farm, I think it's farm agency office. And so I just went in, and the woman was really nice. I was like, what do I need to do to get a farm number? So she gave me the sheet of paper, and I filled it out. It's basic information that you need: your name, your address, and what you're filling out the form for, and then whether or not your social security number, which she didn't actually need. You only need your social security number if you're going to apply to a grant. And so at the time that you're going to apply for a specific grant, but you have to have most of the qualifications, you have to have at least 3 years of history to apply. There's certain things that you don't need 3 years of history, but you do need the farm number. So I went ahead and signed up for that. So, and I forgot bees. I'm getting bees.
Bees. Tell them about the bees real quick. And there's one more question out there too. We can take one more question too.
So I took the beekeepers course. Again, I found this on Clubhouse. It was like beekeeping with BLAK. So I joined that room. Then I found there was a local course going on in Maryland. So I took the online course. It was maybe 2 months, once a week. It was $50, and you and everyone in your household could take the course for that $50. And I finished the course, and they can link you up with a mentor. So I have been mentoring with someone for the last year, and beekeeping is really expensive. So I've been also buying equipment for the last year. So I think I've spent maybe like $500 on bee equipment. So I don't have the bees yet, but I wanted to make sure I had all the equipment first, versus, getting the bees and then not being able to afford the equipment. So I want to set myself up for success. So this year I'll actually be getting some bees in the yard. So I'm excited about that. And part of the reason why I wanted them was for my garden, of course. Come on, guys.
Of course. And then what's the other? Let me pop this question up. It says, this is April.
No.
You have to have a certain amount of acres or land to get a farm number.
No, you don't have to have a certain, my acreage is 0.45 is the size of my lot. But apparently, according to Brandon, people, if you have a nook in your apartment, you can get a farm number. It's basically the farm number basically states that you grow food, and that's a potential of netting you like $1,000. So if you grew microgreens in your nook in your apartment, then that would be considered. Again, I'm restating information from Brandon, but they gave me the number, and it's not based off of the acreage.
And no certifications, right?
No, I didn't have to have any certifications.
Okay, so folks, take advantage of the USDA. There's a guy, Gino Gardner. He's usually in the room. Most of the time, he was here yesterday, but he works for the USDA. He's one of the only Black people that works for the USDA out in Delaware. But take advantage of those places because they do have grants to get all this stuff: seeds, garden beds, land. Become a homesteader. We're going to have a homesteader on at the end of the month. Vanessa is going to come through, and she's going to talking about how, she's a homesteader. Next week we have Taryn Graham. coming on, and then we're gonna have another young lady the following week. Keep following our page here at Black Gardener Talk, Gardening and Beats. Darrelynne, it's been a pleasure to fellowship with you this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think I made it now. I am gonna run to the garden store and get some things. But yeah, thanks for coming. I'm gonna see you on Thursday.
Yes,
We
see you on
did
Thursday.
Temple on Thursday. And so if y'all have not seen New Soul Thursday, we talk about music and we talk about gardening and all that good stuff and health and wellness. So you gotta come on and check us out on Thursday. I'm just trying to be consistent. I think consistency is the key. But Darrelynne, it's been great. I'm gonna let you get out of here.
Thank you. I'm going to get my hair did.
You gonna get your hair did. I got my hair did. But yeah, thank you again. I'm gonna leave with this: live your life healthy, free from negativity, and as always, Black people, we gotta stay dope. All right, peace.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.